Today, as of 2025, the UAE is the best place in the world to live for entrepreneurs, wealthy people, and in general successful people. And the greatest thing about the UAE is not even that you get 0% taxes, not even the safety, the lifestyle, is that you get all of this while being a very easy country to migrate into. Obviously, there are other places as well that offer tax benefits, other places as well like Singapore that are extremely safe, other places that offer many other benefits, but there is no other place that offers all of this while essentially having very easy residence programs that pretty much anyone can qualify for. But with so many different visa programs out there, it can be difficult to decide which visa and residence permit should you actually go for and how do you actually qualify for them. So for this reason, as someone who has been living here for the past 3 years, as someone who works with people who have helped more than 800 people relocate to the UAE, I will give you the 3 best ways to move to Dubai, the 3 best residence permits, and exactly how to qualify for them, as well as which one is best for you depending on your situation. Starting with the first path, which is to open a company and hire yourself. Now, this is the most common way that people initially relocate to the UAE. This is also exactly what I did 3 years ago, and the way it works is as follows. You set up a UAE free zone company, or it can be a mainland company, but usually a free zone company. And then you essentially just give yourself a job. And then with this job, your company then applies for a residence visa for you that allows you to live and work in the UAE. It's the easiest and fastest way to do it. If you work with us, we can help you do it in like 2 weeks. If you work with other people, it might take up to a month or something like that. But regardless, it's a very quick process. It's also the cheapest process. The setup costs on just the government fees to set up your company as well as get your residence visa are going to be roughly $5,000 to $6,000 or in that kind of range. And yes, you can also get less if you use a very bad free zone, but obviously you don't want to do that. This is your company, this is your life. You want to work with the best free zones who are going to give you the best service, who are not going to give you any issues later on, and you want to work with the best people, the best agencies who actually know what they're doing, who are actually going to give you a good service. Because again, this is your business, this is your life. You don't want to cheap out on this kind of stuff. Now, if you do want to work with the best people to set up your company, to relocate to the UAE, or use one of these other paths, which we will also discuss, I will leave a link down below to Genzone, the people that I have personally been working with, not just promoting on this channel, but actually working with for my business. Like whenever I need something, these are the people that I use. For example, when we got the residency visa for my girlfriend, I went through them. When I was getting my golden visa, I went through them. When I bought my property, I went through them because they are simply the best. And if you want to work with them, you can get a free consultation in the first link down below in the description. So far, every single person that has worked with them has had a positive experience, and I hope that you can also be one of them. So what are the pros of this path? Well, obviously, like I mentioned, it is the fastest and easiest way to get into the UAE. And often when people are first coming here, this is what they will do. Then you simply use the UAE company as your operating company, and you need to have a company set up somewhere anyway, so it might as well just be the UAE company. And the great thing is that there are no minimum salary requirements, anything like that. As long as you just have a company, you can give yourself a job, pretty much no questions asked. Now, in some edge cases, there can be some difficulties if you're from certain nationalities or something like that. And of course, there's a process that you want to do properly. There are a lot of details like choosing the right business activities for your company and like many pitfalls that you can get into. Again, if you're doing this on your own, you definitely want to make sure to do your research. Obviously, if you work with us, we will alert you to any potential issues beforehand, so you're not going to have any problems whatsoever. So that is the first way. The second way is to buy property and get the UAE golden visa via buying property. Now, the benefit of this is that if you get the golden visa, and there are other ways to get it as well, we'll touch on that later, instead of a 2-year residence permit, which you get with a normal work visa by a company, you get a 10-year residence permit. But obviously, the downside here is that you need to buy a property, which if you're just first moving to the UAE, maybe you're not sure if you want to do that, which is why often what happens with our clients is that they first set up the company, get the work visa, maybe they see out the first 2 years of that residence permit to make sure that they want to stay and everything like that. So far, pretty much everyone does want to stay. And then after that, they buy a property and then they convert their residence permit into this 10-year golden visa, which then gives you the freedom to, for example, dissolve your UAE company if it makes more sense for you to have a different kind of business business structure, like for example for me, my main operating company is actually a US LLC rather than a UAE company because it works better for payment processing and things like that. So if your visa is not tied to your company, it allows you to perhaps change your business structure if that makes sense for you, and it gives you other kind of flexibility as well. For example, with a 2-year work visa, there is a restriction that you actually have to enter the UAE once every 6 months to keep that residence permit active. And if you're someone who's living around the world, maybe UAE is only one base for you or something like that, then that can be quite annoying. Whereas with the golden visa, you don't have any of these restrictions. In fact, for the whole 10 years, you don't even have to set foot in the UAE once if you don't want to. And obviously you don't have to go through the hassle of renewing it every 2 years. It's only every 10 years. And the reason also why I like this and why a lot of people who come to the UAE eventually get this visa, eventually do this, is because in the UAE, it actually makes a lot of sense to buy. In many places around the world right now, it is cheaper to rent than to buy. In the UAE, when you do the math, it's actually cheaper to buy than to rent, which is why many people who live here long term, they end up buying property because it just makes financially sense. And if the property value is a minimum of 2 million dirhams, it doesn't even have to be fully paid off. You can then also get this golden visa to come with it. So it's kind of a no-brainer if you can do that. But there is an even better way to get this golden visa, and that's the third path, which is to get the UAE golden visa through nomination. So essentially, the way this works is that if you are a high-value individual, which could be in pretty much any category, you could be a very accomplished entrepreneur, you have a very big business, you hire a lot of people or something like that, you are a scientist, you are a content creator, an athlete, doctor, whatever it might be, the UAE essentially wants to build this team of all-stars, like the most talented and successful people from every industry, and they want these people to come to the UAE, which is why they offer this golden visa to pretty much anyone who has something of value to contribute to the UAE. Now, obviously, this is not going to be available to everyone. If you have a very new business, you haven't really accomplished that much yet, then this is probably not going to be available to you. But if you are a very successful individual, you can actually get nominated by the government to get the UAE golden visa, which can allow you to get the 10-year golden visa with all the benefits that we just discussed without needing to invest these 2 million dirhams into a property. And I actually personally got this golden visa via nomination, specifically in the content creator category, and I've made a more detailed video on exactly how I got that. And specifically why I like this option over the property investment option is not only because obviously you don't have to invest money, but even if you can buy property, and even if you do buy property, you should still probably at least try to get it by this nomination if you think you can get it. Because the thing is that if you have the golden visa, buy the property, and then you want to sell the property later, then you lose the golden visa. If you get it through nomination, no matter what, you will keep the golden visa, and you can keep it as a plan B or something like that if you do decide to want to sell your property and leave the UAE at some point. Obviously, this is not going to be easy to get, and it's a process that has to be done very, very carefully. It has to be done properly. You need to know which government department to apply from. There's a lot of things there. So if you want help with this, we do have a contact who can essentially work with the government and help get you this nomination. So if you are interested in that, you can also book a free consultation down below where we can help assess whether you can qualify for this and go from there if you are interested. And obviously there's going to be some fees involved there, but it's going to be much, much less than what other people in the market are trying to charge for this service. So this is going to be the best way if you can get it, but if not, then usually at first you would set up a company, hire yourself, and then eventually when you buy property, you would then get the golden visa via that path. So I hope that helps you, whichever path you're interested in. Again, there's going to be links down below in the description. And with that, if you want more details on what the actual process is from start to finish to move to Dubai, specifically using the company setup and work visa path, you can watch this video right here. And with that, I will see you in the next video.